Hi there, folks. Welcome to the EDM Academy. My name is Jennifer Foster, and I am delighted to say I am starting to do a series of videos which are directly from the ones I did in 2018 called The Stop Before Nowhere. Now, as we've all realised, that was in 2018, and then 2020 came along, and that to me was the nowhere. And now in 2022, we are then in nowhere double plus, 2 years in. And I really would like to start doing these videos again. The idea is you can watch the videos and the content that I'm talking about. If you're interested in learning more about it, then I'm going to do a live chat about the video. So you can just drop me a line, drop me an email, say you're interested in learning more about this particular video, this particular content. And then if you could donate £5, that would be fantastic. And then you can jump onto the live class that will be a couple of days after this video has been put online. And then we can have a good talk about it. I'm going to do this once a week, and I'm going to cover various different topics. Today, I'm covering symbolism. I think this is the most important thing we need to know now in order to help us understand ourselves and actually move forwards in a way so we can create a better world. Other topics I'm going to look at are the mind versus imagination. That will be next week. And then I'm going to go through all aspects of who you are and all aspects of what I call the power needs. Now, meanwhile, I have an online academy, and feel free to visit my website and jump onto some free online courses. One is called What is Happening to Us, which explains what's happened to us during these last couple of years. And then another one is called What's Your Hidden Energy Dynamic? And that's the first course in a series of 6 that will show you how to completely understand how you work, who you are, what feelings are, what emotion is, what the relationship with the mind, that is how this all fits together in given your environment. And to be honest with you, you're not taught this information anywhere else. This is why I've set it up, not because it's fun or because it was my goal. It's simply because you can't find this information anywhere else. And it's really important that you understand how you work, because you're not taught this. And I'm going to go into this in quite a lot of detail in this video. So the idea is you can watch the video. If you want to have a chat about it, let me know, email or comment. Then I will send you a link. If you can pay £5 donation, great. And then you can do this however long you want to do it, because I'll do this once a week. But if you want to know more and have a more structured learning, then you can join the EDM Academy online courses. And the online courses, as I said, the first one is free. There are 6 that examine every aspect of how you are. And you really need to learn this, because we need this knowledge to go forward in the current situation. Really important knowledge. Very, very important that you can understand how you work. You become much more resilient and much more confident, I suppose, in what you need to do next. Okay. I also work one-to-one with people, and I also there's little packages you can do with me as well. Okay. So that's what Nowhere Double Plus is all about. Here we are. The nowhere has happened. Everything has changed. And what do we do about that? Well, what we can do about that today is to listen to this video and understand one reason that has caused us to become in this situation. Now, what you need to know for this video, you need to just go with me on this, that we are actually not our mind. Our mind is here. Let's pretend our mind is here. And let's pretend our mind just processes information that our brain gathers up. Now, imagine that our brain is really who we are. And in our brain, if we're in a good space, is where our imagination lives. And you can tell this with children. that they're quite happy being who they are, using their imagination, playing with some stones, playing with some sticks, using their imagination, and their mind is just processing it. That's how we need to be. And that's not childish. We can be that as an adult. It's how we're supposed to be. It's before the system has kicked in and we start changing, because that's what it does. It actually changes how we work as a human being. And that's what we look at in the EDM Academy. Okay. How we're supposed to work, what these modern times have done to us, and how we've become corrupted, and we have no idea. And because we have no idea, we're going along with it, but we're fundamentally being changed. And in the 2 books I've written, I've looked at this, and it's been going on for years and years and years. And this last couple of years is just really a natural consequence of what's been happening for the last probably 100 years, maybe 200, or maybe even longer than that. So we need to learn how we are supposed to be, first of all. So just go with me on this. This is, as I said, lots more detail in the online courses and the books. So who we are is where our imagination lives. Imagine a child playing away, mind just processing. Now, our imagination is actually pretty unconscious. Our imagination is all the time understanding the world and experiencing the world in a way that's without words, without consciousness, without us being conscious of it. And our imagination really likes things like shapes and colours. And when we have shapes and colours around us and something happens, our imagination and our brain will think, oh, I'll remember that. I'll remember that. And it will associate shapes and colours and symbols to that action. And we won't be aware of it. We won't be aware of it because there was no words. There was no obvious communication. We didn't notice it because it's unconscious. Symbols are used all the time in order to capture our imagination, because that's how our imagination works. That's how we work as humans. I'll give you an example. If you see the golden arches, and you've seen adverts about them, and you've eaten food and there's golden arches around you, when you see a golden arch, you will unconsciously have in you, oh, food, without you thinking about it. You might not even be conscious of it. If you're just walking down the road and you see golden arches, you're probably not even conscious of that. But that will have gone into your brain. Same with brands, clothing brands. If you see a logo with a clothing brand, you'll associate that with a person probably, or a feeling of being cool or being current or being trendy like that other person. And again, that'll be unconscious, really. It will become conscious when you go into a shop, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is how we primarily work. This is the first step. It's not our mind, it's our imagination. The imagination is the first thing that we have that experiences the world around us. It's the imagination. It's not the mind. Okay? So our imagination has absorbed the fact that golden arches means food. That's in our unconscious. Now, when we're subconsciously thinking, oh, I'm hungry, and you're walking down the road and you see golden arches, you will subconsciously be attracted to that. And then you will think consciously, oh, I might go in there and have some food. That's how it works. So the unconscious is the symbol and the experience that you associate with that symbol. That's unconscious. Subconscious is the thought that comes up when you then see that symbol, And then the conscious is the action. Oh, I'll go into that shop and buy some food because I fancy that. And guess why you fancy that? You fancy that because you saw the symbol. It's not out of nowhere. Now, people aren't taught this. People are taught it's all from the mind. So the first part of that process is missing. We're taught it's what we think creates an action. It's what we think creates a feeling. It's not. That's the second step. The first step is what we know and what's in our brain unconsciously. Now, the good news about this is it doesn't have to be unconscious if we become aware of it. And that is what the EDM Academy is all about. I want to consciously allow you to become aware of what we are unconsciously absorbing. Because as soon as we start to notice it, it doesn't guide us without us realizing. Because we become conscious of it and we can then make a choice. We can make a choice. Oh, I know about the golden arches and I know what that product is and I'm aware of that, but I'm also going to make a choice. Do I want to go in there or do I want to go somewhere else? Because I'm aware of it. It's not like a hidden hand pulling me into the direction and I'm not even aware of it. And because I'm not aware of it and maybe I'm thinking about something else, I don't even know I'm doing it. I'm not consciously aware of it. Now, symbols have been used for all humanity life, probably, in order to communicate stuff to us. And again, in the last, I don't know, probably 50 years, we've not been taught that. We've been taught it's about the mind. And this is where things have gone seriously wrong, okay? Seriously wrong, because we're taught it's all about the mind. We're focusing on the mind. We're trying to do actions and thoughts that are good for us. Sometimes we manage, sometimes we don't, because we're trying to argue with our mind. But if our mind is being influenced as it is all the time from our unconscious of what we know, what we've experienced, and there are symbols going on that we know and we recognize that have been there loads and loads of times in all our life. Those symbols that our imagination has in our memory are really what is making our decisions, not the thoughts in our mind. If it was that easy to change your action by changing your mind, don't you think we could all do it? Why does everyone have so much problems? Why do people have to see a hypnotist? Why do people have to go round and round in circles and then sabotage? Well, it's because what's actually running us is not our mind. It is our brain, and within our brain, in our memory, are all the symbols. And those symbols are telling us things. Some of them are quite nefarious symbols as well. Now, I want to reverse this. I want to turn this on its head and say, right, so there's lots of symbols out there that are actually unconsciously, because it's unconscious, you are then controlled by them. But as soon as you become conscious of them, you're not nearly so controlled by it, okay? Not nearly. And what I also want to do is to show you how we work unconsciously. So once you understand how we work at the moment unconsciously, you can start to do it consciously, and you can start to take charge of yourself and your experience of life and your who you are and what you feel and your imagination. And you can start to consciously start being the person who makes decisions rather than being the person who is subconsciously thinking that they're making the right decision because that's what their mind is telling them, and they're wondering why it's difficult. So by consciously understanding how you unconsciously work is liberation. And it's not the mind trap. We're told it's the mind trap. It's not. The mind is a trap, and we'll talk about this more in the next video next week. The mind does become a trap if you're in it. So that's half true. But you don't have to be in it. That's the whole point. And what I am going to show you is how to not be on your mind. Therefore, it's not a trap. Okay? If you're not in your mind, it's not a trap. So where do you go if you're not in your mind? Where you go is you go into what I call your stick self. You go into who you are, you go into what you feel, you go into what you know, and you come out of your mind, and your mind just starts to process information. You don't get stuck in it and start going round and round in circles. You come out of your mind, you let your mind process it, and you become the observer. You become the person in the experience, not the person who is trying to observe it and process it. You're the person who's actually in the experience, knowing what's going on and being in charge of decision making. So the way we unconsciously work is illustrated by this power tower. I'm not going to go into this now. As I said, there's free courses, and I will go into this more in the next videos. But this power tower, I'll show you a little bit, represents who you are. The stick represents who you are. Okay, these symbols represent parts of who you are, and these circles represent, given who you are, how you feel about it. So this one, where are we? There we are. So this one, love and care, if you pull up love and care, this one, what's it behind it? Oh, it's the human part of you. So if you are showing love and care as a human, you feel good because you're showing that you're human. You lift up the power need, and that's the bit of who you are that's creating that feeling. That's how it works, okay? With expression, if I'm feeling good about how I'm expressing myself, it's because, what's under there? Knowledge. It's because someone's listening to my past experience and my knowledge, and I'm expressing that. My knowledge, I can express my knowledge. So doing this video, I am expressing my knowledge, so I feel that good because I'm expressing my knowledge. This is how this little power tower works. But that's, I know. There you are. But anyway, I go into this hugely in the EDM Academy. In fact, this is how I teach it. But the important thing, the takeaway from this is this EDM mini power tower shows you how we work unconsciously, makes it conscious, and because it makes it conscious, we then start to understand what's going on. Our mind calms down because our mind is just processing the information. It's not deciding what's going on because we know what's going on, because we are using this idea to work it out. So it becomes conscious. So I consciously start to use my imagination, because it is your imagination, because you use your imagination actually to experience the world. You don't use your mind to experience the world, because your mind just processes information. And you can use your mind if you're stuck, if you don't know, and then you just kind of think, oh, what should I do? But when you're actually in the real world doing your thing, just experiencing stuff, you're using your imagination. That's how you do it. That's the thing of you that is used to engage in the world. It's not just about painting a picture. Every decision you make is your imagination. You're using your imagination. You are using your imagination to imagine what will happen if you make that decision. And your imagination and your brain are working together, understanding that if you do that, this will happen. And isn't that amazing? Or if you do that, then this will happen. This won't be very good, so you're not going to do it. That's how it works. And all the time, if we're not aware of this, we're absorbing all these symbols that are telling us where this symbol is, this good thing will happen. Where this symbol is, this good feeling will materialize. Where this symbol is, this is what we do. And if we're not aware of that, we can be really, really guided by that without any awareness whatsoever. just another little takeaway. Imagine what happens to you when you see a no entry sign in a road. What happens when you see a no entry sign? Without thinking about it, you'll just stop. If you're not driving a car, you'll stop. That's the symbol. You've not thought that. You just know that. Symbolism. It's how we are being told, dare I say it, to behave. They're using symbols. And then on the symbol there may be words, but that's secondary. It's the symbol that's really carrying the authority, because you've allowed your brain to absorb it. Not because in itself it's powerful. It becomes powerful because you've absorbed it. So reverse it. So if you absorb this and learn how we work, this also is a picture of intuition. This also is a picture of your true, authentic self, whatever words you want to use. If you understand how you work as a symbol conceptually through using this, because you can feel it and you can take it to pieces and you can work it out without having to think about more esoteric things like an emotion. What's that? But using this, you know what a feel is, and you know what a feel is in relation to who you are, because of who you are is the stick. So it becomes a thing that you can see and you can feel. Therefore, it becomes really powerful. Therefore, it becomes a symbol and you can use it. Okay, well, that's all for now. There's lots to talk about on this subject. So if you want to have a chat about it, drop me a line and I'll send you a link. And we will meet on Friday, the 8th of July at 7 p.m. UK time. You're welcome from anywhere around the world. Friday, 8 o'clock, Friday the 8th at 7 p.m. UK time. So if you want to know more or want to have a chat about that, please come along, drop me a line. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.